Welcome everybody to the St. Thomas Zoom Forum, an experiment we're doing for the first time here at St. Thomas. Glad to have you joining us. Quite a few people live and some others will be, I'm sure, watching the recording afterward. Mark Matheson, Congregational Chairman, is our first speaker here this evening.
We're starting right on time, eh?
Yes.
All right. All right, I didn't have a whole lot to say. Again, I appreciate those that have tuned in to watch our first Zoom congregational meeting, and those who may be watching it after the fact on video. Appreciate everybody's attention. Just a couple of things. I just wanted to send an overall message that I guess I feel excited and privileged to be a member of St. Thomas right now. It's a great time to be worshiping together. I know all of you would agree that each Sunday we get the Word of God preached to us by pastor and the other pastoral laypersons of St. Thomas in what I would consider so effective way in following biblical principles and values. I get a lot out of it. I kind of leave each Sunday feeling rejuvenated and ready to take on the world. However, I'm finding myself going through a little, through the week and realizing I lean on God so much throughout the week that once a week on a Sunday probably isn't enough. So I'm trying to focus right now, and I know Pastor has promoted over and over again the values of Bible study and the FHL groups, and I probably haven't been as diligent as I should be in that attendance. So that's what I'm focusing on right now, and hopefully start consistently attending the Wednesday morning men's Bible study. But just hope everyone also maybe join in resolving to try a FHL group in the near future, or Bible study. It's good to have other people of similar faith and principles to sit around and talk to and share the ministry. It's great to see more and more people every week in person in church. It's certainly everyone's choice about how they participate, whether it be remotely or in person. Just saying, it's kind of nice to see people again in person safely worshiping together. But obviously things have changed over the course of the pandemic and continue to change, and we're adapting. I'd like to say St. Thomas is adapting to that. Consider St. Thomas to be sort of on the cutting edge of the Facebook Live service video that we started probably almost 2 years ago. Just like to say we're so blessed for the people that run that ministry every Sunday, and those that, again, participate remotely in that. I guess the health of the congregation can be measured in a number of different ways. Some I just mentioned, just a few more. Just like to mention the people that dedicate themselves to serving the church, namely the pastors, deacons, the office people at St. Thomas. The list goes on. We're extremely blessed at the dedication and service of these dedicated people. So very blessed. Financially, we've negotiated the pandemic and afterwards extremely well. Paying bills on time with cash left over, as Beverly will talk in a minute on the financials. Extremely blessed. The foundation assets.
I'm gonna call you back. I'm in a meeting at church.
The foundation assets continue to grow under the watchful eye of the trustees while helping to fund some needed capital improvements. And then just the beautiful building we worship in is phenomenal. Under Gary's leadership, we continue to address ongoing maintenance and building needs so that we continue to enjoy the building and the grounds that, again, God has blessed us with. The facilities continue to be used almost to their fullest still, even throughout the pandemic, which is good news. Just like to end, there's a lot of work to do, and we can't sit still and hope everything kind of takes care of itself, but we're on a good path, and one that I can see continuing into the future, and really excited for what the future holds for St. Thomas. Again, thanks for joining us. Certainly shows that you care by either attending the Zoom call or looking at this video. So appreciate that. And we'll kick off the next part of the meeting, but just those were my thoughts.
Thank you very much, Mark. We're switching over to Beverly, our Chief Financial Officer then, with financial reports. So Beverly, I think there'll be some of the reports up on the screen, but I'm handing the microphone over to you.
Okey-dokey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay. I was trying to like get my video working so you can see my face.
There we go.
Okay, so hopefully you can see me now. But anyway, if you look at the financials, like Mark said, we're doing pretty good. We have in our general fund, available 29,000, almost $30,000, which is pretty good. Especially during this the stressful time with the pandemic. I think we fared very well. God has blessed us to be in a very positive position. Also, even our budget that we did for the 2021-22 fiscal year thus far, we actually have a surplus of 8.7 thousand right now, and that's phenomenal year to date. So I think we're in a very good position with that. Our restricted fund, we have a very good position in restricted fund also. It's $102,000, which is really good, and I think we're doing very well. I'm not sure if anybody has any additional questions. And also, as Mark made note of, our foundation is doing pretty good too. We've had a positive growth in that over the last few months.
Yeah, maybe just another thing to note too, that while the screen is up there, people have probably seen this before, that we've been able to pay down the loan to the restricted fund, significantly over the last year and a half, to the tune of the outstanding loan to the restricted is 15 grand, and it was upwards of 82,000 before. So that's good, and we hope to have a probably next month, if everything goes continuing down this path, we hope to be able to start making some more dent in that loan to the restricted in October yet. So it's good news. Can you scroll down to the maybe the statement of account budget?
Yeah.
And just maybe scroll up. It's not
a little bit. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah. This is where we're showing that we had a surplus with our budget so far year to date, and that's pretty good. It looks our giving electronically has continued to increase over what we budgeted. Our general fund offerings actually are also up from what we budgeted. So we got a lot of revenue in, and our expenses seem to be steady and not pretty much increasing. They're pretty much within budget.
I would agree, and I think you pointed out correctly that normally whenever we seem to be behind budget or ahead of budget, it's because we've somehow cut expenses beyond whatever the bare bones that we've already cut. This is kind of the first time in a while that hopefully it continues, that the actual giving is especially for, what is it, July, August, September, 2 months into the fiscal year, our actual giving is over budget. So like Beverly said, that's awesome.
So if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat, or I can address them.
There's not too many of us. You can just yell it out.
Yeah. If you know it, I guess. If you know what you want to say right now, that'll be helpful. But
this turned off?
No, it's on.
Okay. Thank you, Beverly. I think we got to see the finances there. And that talk about how good God is in those things. Again, if you have some questions later on, if you just send them in, we'll make sure we figure out a way to respond to them as they come. Mark also mentioned a little bit about Gary Lacey and our capital projects and what we're doing with our facility here. Gary is our next speaker as the chairman of our Board of Resource Management. Gary, we turn it over to you.
Okay, can you all hear me?
Loud and clear.
Yeah,
Okay, very good. Sorry, I normally would in venues like this, I would show my face, but my laptop camera seem to be malfunctioning. So
Sure, sure.
okay, so thanks for. I apologize that I got this presentation in at the last minute, but nevertheless, it's here. This is more just some talking points to help, present to the people that are attending just what's been going on with the capital projects and some plans that we have. And the agenda is pretty straightforward. Just going to kind of highlight and review what we've done in the past couple of years, excluding this year. Then we'll talk about what's been going on this year. And then any questions and answers or any ideas that you may have. So next slide, please, which is the agenda. So you can go to the next one after that. Okay, so can I move this? So, okay. Oh, very good. So for 2019 and 2020, for those that have been, somewhat paying attention to what's going on with the facility, because you're making sure that our facility is not only fiscally healthy, that means financially, but also is safe and can house the different ministries that we have going on. It's important that we, maintain it. Just like those of you that have homes or apartments, what have you, or cars, you have to maintain them periodically, right? So as you know, that there are parts of the building that are very aged. So we're doing our best to try and keep the facility up. In the last couple of years, we had the phase 2 and phase 3 roof repairs. In some, I think the year prior to 2018, we saw some wind damage that, thank God we had insurance and they covered most of it, which predominantly covered the west side of the old schools, the west side of the facility. And then subsequent to that, we did some other repairs and small replacements. In late 2020, early 21, we did get the new alarm system that has kind of helped us, secure the facility even more, especially now that, we only have a handful of people in during the day. So not only is their safety important, but we also want to control traffic and be able to monitor that and still keep the facility free and flexible and open enough to allow the different ministries, okay? And then in mid to late 2020, we did replace the east parking lot, which is there by the sanctuary and the preschool area on the east side. And then we also resurfaced the west parking lot, which a few years back was replaced as well. So we're trying to maintain those vehicle trafficked areas to make sure that they're pothole free, they're aesthetically pleasing, and of course safe for our members and visitors to park and traffic on and walk on. Okay. Next slide, please. So is that blank?
It has one word. Oh, there it is.
Oh, okay. Oh, I must have had, I'm sorry, I must have had action points in there. Anyways, so for those of you that remember so well, I do, and I know Tony did because he had to help empty the garbage cans full of water, but we had a boiler transfer pump that failed over there by the gym area. So that was a pretty wet, and of course it happened in the middle of winter, so to speak. But praise God that we were able to get, and by the way, all of these improvements and investments, if you will, and repairs and replacements, with the exception of the LED message board, which I believe was part of a what's the proper terminology, Pastor? It was a
Grant?
grant
Memorial.
memorial. Thank you. All of these were grants provided for by our foundation. Okay, so that was a pretty hefty repair. We got it done, got it fixed, and then we moved on to the windows that you can see, the glass block windows. That was done for two reasons. Number one, to move away from the glazed old-fashioned windows that were in there, even though they provided, you know, much better viewing to the outside. To maintain those would have been very expensive, believe it or not. Glazing is a old and old technique that's predates caulking. Problem is that you need to find skill, and to replace glazing, it takes sometimes up to 50% of your window out because it gets damaged when you replace that. So we thought it was more cost effective and more and enhance the security by putting those glass block windows in. Now, obviously, we have to consider, you know, the safety in terms of in God forbid there's a fire. So we need to address that in the PB&J room, and we'll have to figure out how we get an additional exit door. Having said that, I seriously doubt, unless you threw a chair through the window, that anybody could have squeezed through any of those windows that were there before. So we did it in the fireside lounge, and then the kitchen, bathroom, and a boiler room. I personally feel it looks good, and it's not because you know, I was predominantly the project manager, but I just think the way that the contractor did it, it turned out pretty well. And then the LED message board is probably the final improvement. You could call it a capital investment, but it was through a memorial gift that's been good to good use. Okay. And I think it's also important, even though this is not under the jurisdiction RMB, although it falls under our purview, we have a very giving and a generous person by the name of Ed Hill that painted the garage door. I just noticed that, I think it was last week, saw a person there painting the garage door. And then the southwest entrance, the poles that you see there by the fireside lounge entrance. So, you know, all those small little improvements that help make the facility look more aesthetically pleasing. I think it's also worth mentioning that I think the Great Start program, they have invested in, you know, with the funds that they bring in, they've helped paint the room that they are renting, and I believe there's a couple other items that escapes my memory here that they helped pay for. Right, Pastor? Was it the mulch on the playground?
Yep, and in the gymnasium, in order to have the gym available for them to use with the children,
Yes.
a fire door.
Fire door.
And the east wall was painted with a fire retardant on there as well.
Right.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that we give those people the accolades that they deserve. Okay, so thank you to them. All right, next slide. Wrap up here. Forward looking. We're eventually going to have to replace some sections of the entire gym roof. Okay. Right now, so far so good, but we're encroaching on more than 20 years. Okay. Same holds true of all the shingled spaces. So some places of the roof on the sanctuary, and then on the east side, the new part of the facility or the newer part, that's all shingled, and that's definitely nearing 20 years, if not older. Okay, and we'll try and sustain that until it's absolutely necessary. Right now, what we're doing is, if we find a leak, we'll get it patched, but sooner or later, we're going to have to address this. And then the windows on the south side of the building, that's where you have the triangular peaks at the roof line there, and the windows meet up to that. That's going to be a bit of a challenge. Probably the biggest one. At first, by the way, we were thinking about putting glass block, but then we ran into some potential structure modifications that I just didn't feel comfortable with. So we've tabled that until next year or the year after. The biggest one is the boiler replacement. So that boiler is easily more than 20 years old. Some of the parts are obsolete. So our good contractor friend Chet has been working on some piecemeal maintenance, as well as trying to look for parts that we can put on reserve in case something goes bad. Because if it does, then that is a huge ticket item. So we're somewhat living on borrowed time. So in this next year or so, we really got to start thinking about that replacement. Now, what does go into that whole decision process is, okay, what are we going to look like anywhere between 5 and 10 to 15 to 20 years from now? Okay. And you may ask, well, why is that important? Well, if we're not here in 5 years, for whatever reason, is it economically sound to go ahead and spend, a boiler like that will easily cost anywhere between $100,000 to $150,000. So, those are the kind of things that we have to think about in terms of longevity of the ministry, the types of ministry that we see ourselves doing 5, 10, a couple decades from now. So that's all I really have. Of course, the R&B will continue to look at the small things, but any questions or comments or feedback? Awesome. Silence is golden.
Yes, and we will give people the opportunity again at the end or anytime after this, just to get them to the church office, and we'll respond to you as best we can. So that's great. Thank you so very much, Gary. That's another good report there to give people a sense for what all is going on with those things.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we bring our ministry manager, Tony Berkseth, here to talk about lots of different things going on between Board of Mission Engagement and community service.
Yeah. All right. So first of all, Mark had mentioned that a lot of things are being used in the building. And I think it's just really funny because right now we have this meeting going on. The cheerleaders are in the gym. And of course, I don't know, you've probably been hearing the handbells being played right next to us. So I think it's funny to just see how many people are coming through the building. And it's kind of a neat thing. All right. So the things that I wanted to mention, I have 5 things. The children ministry, online ministry, Board of Mission Engagement, Board of Community Service, and other activities that we are doing in the church. So starting off with the first one, the children's ministries. So we have the flock, Sunday school, and cross training, junior confirmation. So starting off with the flock, some things that we have been doing in the past year and a half, I believe it is, the past few semesters, we've been doing it all online. But this semester, this time we have finally being able to do it in person. And so that has been going really well. We have enough students and helpers for 2 different groups with that. I believe the last time I asked, there were about 12 students who are regularly going to those. So that's really good to see. And of course, we still do have online lessons that we are teaching, and that's being led by me and my mom. And so the purpose of that is, so now that it's in person, a lot of people are going into in person, but the purpose of the online flock is to give people the opportunity who might not be able to come to the in-person, whether they live, far away in a different state, whatever, or also just as supplementary content for people who are actually in person. So that's been nice. It's nice to have both of them, just in case, just to serve everyone. The other thing with the children ministry is cross training. So last year, the junior confirmation. So last year I helped with few different lessons being able to teach. And this year I am kind of taking more of a leadership role with it and teaching a lot of the lessons. We have 2 different students who have been just a blessing to work with. They ask a lot of great questions, and I think it's funny because I learned so much every time from them, just different perspectives and everything like that. And I think something, as I'm talking about these, just thinking about different improvements, only having 2 students, I'd like to see that obviously grow. I think it's somewhat understandable, just coming back into the swing of things, but definitely something I would like to see improved. So another thing I was going to mention is the online ministry. So of course there are a few different things that are going on, but the things that I personally am responsible for include the hymn sing, which takes place every Monday at 7 o'clock, where we're able to sing hymns, some of our favorite hymns, and invite people to join us in singing along. So that's kind of been one of my favorite things that has come out in the last year and a half or so. Has just been kind of something that we started up kind of just as a test to see, what kind of response we would have from people online, and it's just kind of been a blessing to see everyone participate in that. Another thing, part of the online ministry is the flock. So I kind of already mentioned that before. And then of course we stream our services, and I've taken a bigger role in helping out with that, like with the sound room and everything. And something to mention about that is that we are in the process of updating that whole system, and to make that as best as it could be. I also wanted to bring up the Board of Mission Engagement. So the general idea for this board, when we kind of when I was first involved in it, it was, we had a few different ideas, like a lot of different ideas of what we could do. And kind of just to sum up, what we have been doing is to kind of just update, add, and create new things within St. Thomas. So look at what we're doing, see what can be improved, see what we need to add, and see what maybe, doesn't make sense to have anymore. So that's something that we've been involved in recently includes SAS, which is this year's SAS, kind of just helping out with decorations, setup, and the dining room, whether that's getting volunteers or just volunteering ourselves our time to kind of coordinate that. Board of Mission Engagement also has been playing a role in the prayer ministry, and that's something that we're going to be working a lot on in the next coming months, kind of trying to figure out how we're going to go forward with that. And then also helping with the Barnabas ministry, which of course Pastor Hetzner is in charge of. So it's been interesting to see how this board has developed over the last even just half a year, just to see how we can take different ideas and to kind of implement them. Of course, it doesn't always work out every time the way we want it to, but it's nice to see progress when there is progress. I wanted to talk about the Board of Community Service. So these notes were given to me by Kelly Gravella, but she wanted me to speak for her. So the Board of Community Service has had 2 meetings since May of 2021. in August and September. So things that we've been working on, major work that's been done in that time includes the food pantry and clothing closet and McRest, which took place on August 8th through 15th. Upcoming projects include SAS this October, clothing closet, which is open monthly, food pantry, Thanksgiving baskets, and Christmas giving tree and food pantry Christmas baskets. Now, something that I wanted to also bring up while we're talking about this is SAS is coming up very soon. So we need as many volunteers as possible. So if you're watching and you are able to help out, there are lots of ways you can volunteer, either with donations or your time. And since this is kind of the first time we're coming back to this after a little bit of a break, it is definitely crucial to have as much help as possible. So we appreciate that in advance. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up before taking questions is kind of a little passion project of mine as of recent. And that is creating different activities around St. Thomas. So the whole idea is that, you know, as we are coming back to service in person, as we are kind of getting involved in each other's lives again, I kind of wanted to have a way to encourage that, but in a way that's not necessarily just saying hi in service, you know, having a way to meet with each other so that we can kind of just commune in a sense of being together. So of course we had the welcome back brunch, which took place about 2 months ago now, which was just that kind of just was really great to see, just to see everyone together, and it was just a very happy moment for me. I just wanted to list a few other things that will be taking place in the next few months. So yes, that's a great question. So ballroom dancing is coming back. That's actually the next thing that I was going to mention. So ballroom dancing is actually going to be at the end of this month, October 27th. So that is a Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and it's going to be in room 207. So one of the classrooms. So if you're interested in that, definitely let me know, Beverly. If you are interested, you can call me, text me, call the office or anything like that to get you some more information on that. But the lesson will be, since it's so close to Halloween, we figured we'd do a haunted hustle. So that'll be a lot of fun. Again, that's on the 27th at 7 o'clock. Another thing that is coming up, a member reached out to me a few weeks ago asking if we could do a trunk or treat. And we kind of talked a little bit, and I really liked the idea. And the more I kind of brainstormed with the idea, we came up with this. And so we're going to be doing, since Halloween falls on a Sunday this year, we're going to be doing a trick-or-treating around St. Thomas. So what this looks like is we're going to be working with the flock, where kids are able to stay after service for a special lesson, and they're able to kind of just trick-or-treat around the building. And I'm involving the choir, FHL groups, and the congregation, inviting the congregation to be a part of this. If you're interested in it, either have your kid come to the lesson, the flock lesson, and participate, or if you're interested in passing out candy, we'll have congregation meet in the gym to pass out the candy. So that'll be really exciting to see. We kind of had a lot of different ideas of how it could go, but we figured this is probably the best way. And since Halloween fell on a Sunday, that kind of just made a lot of sense. And two other things that will be coming up, and you'll see more information soon, is I'm going to be having a euchre night, which would be a lot of fun, and then caroling in December. That's something that's always been one of my favorite things to do. So look forward to those things to come very soon. But that is everything that I have mentioned. So do you have any more questions? All right.
Okay. I'll roll in here where
All right.
Tony was to wrap things up. So, I hear all these reports. I've been watching what our leaders have been doing as a congregation. We are just really blessed with leadership between our elected leaders and our staff. And I think of Psalm 103, verse 1, where it says, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, bless his holy name." And then with the leadership, how the congregation has been responding and moving forward through all of this. I think many of you know we've been emphasizing 4 C's throughout the pandemic. First of all, that we are a caring congregation. We're looking out for the needs of those around us. But at the same time, making sure that we're cautious because information keeps changing and we're better to be cautious, safe than sorry kind of activity. And we have really been doing that very well as a congregation. Thank you to all of you folks. With that, though, we don't want to live in fear. We have been courageous in what we're doing, knowing that God is in control, that He is taking care of us. As we move forward, we can certainly have that take good courage, for the Lord is with us. And then what an opportunity to be creative that this pandemic has given to us, getting us maybe out of the rut sometimes to say, hey, there's different ways to do things like this Zoom forum. I'm not sure we ever would have thought of something like this prior to the pandemic. And so God has continued to move us forward. Groups like AA and NA, Al-Anon, Life Builders, all of those groups are back working in our building again, which is so good. And so I thought I'd talk about some things coming up as well, where we can see God's movement for us moving forward. Gary talked some about the sign. We got a phone call yesterday that it may well be installed on Tuesday this upcoming week. There's been a lot of different people who've done some background work. It's going to be on the same base as the sign. It'll have a new heading on top, and then it'll have a TV screen facing where our 2 screens are right now. I think that's going to be a great way to be getting our word out to our community that will really get people's attention. The Trier family memorial paid for most of it, and then anything beyond that was part of the foundation grant. Lifeline is coming back to our building in November. November 9th, a Tuesday, is when they will again be in our building. It is just a great day where there are people coming and going all day long, getting those health checks. Watch for information on that. Our Ascension St. John Wellness Center, there's a new staff person, Lynn, who is working with us. And it looks like at this point, they're going to be doing virtual things, maybe all the way until April. They're trying to do something a little bit more hands-on in our building. But right now, the plan is not till April, but they will be doing things between now and then that will be, well, kind of this kind of a format. Also, we're working with them and with Sue Wensink, our parish nurse, to find a day, hopefully in November, when flu shots will be available here at St. Thomas. We've done it different ways over the years, so we're just watch for those plans to be coming up. Tony mentioned that they're working on sound system. There is a grant from the Church Extension Fund that's available for $2,500 and with additional $500 for training. So between our TV broadcasts and our sound system in church to get those things up to date and a little more user friendly so that our broadcasts we got to keep on working on improving those broadcasts and the sound for everyone. Excited about that opportunity. We had our first Faith and Fellowship gathering, a picnic on the 3rd Sunday in August, which had an overwhelming, just awesome attendance and participation. Our plan this year is to have Faith and Fellowship meals like that right after worship service on a quarterly basis this year. So the next one will be on the 3rd Sunday in November. That date is the 21st, which is also Remembrance Sunday, where we'll have our special Remembrance Sunday worship gathering. And then after that, well, it won't be a picnic in November. We'll move down to the gym where we will have a brunch served. And again, that's a time that we call them Faith and Fellowship brunch. The idea is to share with people how people are growing in the Word. Mark talked about looking for a way to get into a FHL group. We'll talk about our Barnabas ministry in those. And then there's a time just to mingle and to a great time to bring somebody new to hear and to get involved in God's Word here through St. Thomas. Another little thing we're working on in the church office right now to try to be better at caring for people, with people so scattered through all of this. So we haven't been taking attendance at church. And so it's easy for people to fall in through the cracks. So starting in the next couple of weeks, we're going to start taking attendance in a variety of ways. You'll be able to do it with your smartphone. If you're worshiping with us through Facebook Live, there'll be a link there where you can just register your attendance. You don't have to make comments or anything like that. And also there will be a back page on our worship folder that people can fill out and rip off and then put in where the tithes and offerings go. So that there's at least 3 different options of how to be able to do that. I always forget what you call those pictures that you take. What do you? What? QR code. Thank you, Tony. It really, in many ways, pays to have young people around. Okay, but there'll be a QR code back there that you'll be able to do your attendance through also as well. So watch for that to be coming soon. I started with Psalm 103. Let me just read the first 5 verses because that's really the theme of everything we are doing here in our ministry and everything we're talking about tonight. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. He forgives all your iniquity. He heals all your diseases. He redeems your life from the pit. He crowns you with steadfast love and mercy. He satisfies you with good things so that your youth is renewed like the eagles. That is, in fact, what God is doing through our ministry here at St. Thomas in our congregation and then out to our community. And we want to thank you for being a vital part of that. And also know that we are looking always for ways that we can minister most effectively to you. For that reason, this is actually being recorded. And so if you know of someone who says, well, I wonder what that was like, they'll be able to watch this through our Facebook page or get a link through our St. Thomas website. Watch for those things and then spread the word. And we'll be doing this again after the first of the year, January or February, just to try to keep ways of open communication in many different ways. With that, though, I think we have taken enough of your time. That's almost 45 minutes. Wow. Hopefully you're finding this to be helpful and a blessing. And if we haven't seen you yet in person, we hope to see you again real soon. Now the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look constantly upon you with all of his grace, all of his favor, and grant you his peace. Have a blessed night.
Thank you, everybody. Good job.
Thank you. God bless you all.